And we are live back with MoonCon, and I realised we haven't got the MoonCon brand on. Look at that, how bad am I? There we go. Now we're in MoonCon. But welcome back to MoonCon 22. I'm here with the very lovely Kylie Holmes. We had a blast last year when we were chatting about runes. So that's the subject for today again, because that's one of your specialities, because you have many strings to your bow, don't you?
Thank you, Rachel, for inviting me.
You want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, Kylie?
Okay, my name is Kylie. I live in Cambridgeshire. I have 4 children and now a granddaughter called Cassie. I've got 2 dogs and 4 cats, actually 3, because one of them just likes to go on his own. I think that cat owns me rather than the other way around. I'm an angel intuitive therapist. I love working with the fairies. I'm also a hypnotherapist as well. Been teaching mindfulness and meditation adult classes for adults and children for about 30 years now, and I really enjoy it. I also love the runes, and I do tea leaf reading as well. So when the readings that I do, I incorporate tea leaves and runes and sometimes tarot, depending who's sitting in front of me.
Combination. So your book that's out with Moon Books is the rune one?
Yeah, the runes. It's called Runes Made Easy. I really enjoyed writing that. There's been a lot of books on the market that are great, but I want to simplify it. And it's interesting because some of the comments say that I don't do reverse readings. When I teach runes, I tend to get my students, as I call them, to learn the basics first, because like a reverse reading can be further down the path of when they're learning it. Because runes in itself can be complicated. So I simplified the meanings and the connections to the runes, because I didn't want to throw them in the deep end, because when I was learning, I found it, like tarot, quite hard to begin with. I think sometimes it's when you're learning something, even mindfulness, if you keep it simple, you'll learn those simple things.
Yeah. Runes, I love working with runes from the magical point of view. I do put them on candles and spells and things, but I don't read them as such. I read tarot, but I never read reverses. I kind of think with tarot, if you keep your cards all neat, then they're never going to be upside down anyway.
That's true.
No, but I guess do runes fall where they fall, don't they? So,
yeah, they do. I mean, I'm bringing it up because someone made a comment about that they thought it was really weird that I didn't do reverse meanings. But like you said about tarot, when they all fall out, and yes, you keep the tarot the same way, but runes you can't, because they're jiggling around in the bag. But when you put your hand in, you put them out, it's almost like I can see in maybe I read the person's aura and the runes as a divination to connect with that person, to connect with their guides, connect with whoever's around them at that moment in time. It could be angels, it could be fairies, it could be ancestors, it could be, I don't know, ascended masters. And I look, and then I think you get in an intuitive feeling what that person's feeling at that moment in time. So, and I'm really glad that you've said that you don't do reverse readings in tarot as well, because then I'm in your camp, because I just think sometimes there's a lot of negativity in the world, and I am a positive person, but I turn it around, and in the reading, when the runes are laid out intuitively, if that makes sense.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you bring in all of your other skills as well. So the rune is just, it's a tool really to open up all of your other senses and your skills. Kind of a prompt really, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a gate. Yeah, no, it's like a gateway into the world. I mean, sometimes if the person is new to runes, I won't use them. I'll use tarot, or I'll use tea leaf reading, for example, just to get insight to that person's energy. Because what you see on the table might reflect what they're feeling, and it's sort of envisaging their auric field. And then an ancestor might come through. I always use Auntie Esmeralda or Uncle Fred because they're in my family. They might pop up and say, well, this person's feeling like this person's like that. I mean, with runes, you can't, I feel I can't predict. With tarot, you can't. It's about their fate, their orlog at that moment in time. And I love the runes because when I'm teaching it, I say, well, that meaning might mean for Fred Bloggs, but something else could mean for somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's, it's amazing. And I say that you're building up a toolbox of your own meanings. I mean, books are great. You learn a lot of knowledge, but I think hands-on is much more better. It's getting that using your intuition, and that's what I talk about with the runes as well, using your intuition, because I remember in the early days, over 30 years ago, doing a psychic fair, and I'll never forget this. There was somebody had cards and runes out and they didn't know the meaning, so they got the book out reading it, going, just a minute, like this. And I thought that was hilarious in a way. But I've always
paying them to do that reading. That's dreadful.
The card come up and the runes didn't know who it was, and I thought,
so
it was quite funny.
Oh, we have Sam here says, I don't read reverse tarot either.
Yes!
We're getting a big club here.
Thank you, Sam. That's amazing. I'm really glad.
Cards contain both answers, and it's a case of reading for the client and using intuition.
Oh, fantastic, Sam. Well done. Yeah. And I'm not being facetious when I'm clapping for yes, that's amazing, because intuition is that's what it's all about. Yeah. And when I do teach, I sort of grab the book that I sell from Moon Books, I like to add, and they go, you're not having that, you can make up your own book. But I can't do that. And I'm like, no, you've got to trust your intuition. Your intuition is always right. And it's like, even like when, how can I put it, like when you're out with friends and someone's talking and what they're saying doesn't mean true in here. It might mean up there in their mind, but in your heart, you're thinking, this is not right. That's not going to work out. And I don't know, it's almost like spirit will show me a clear path. And I've known it about you, Rachel. I try to say something. It's almost like this invisible hand goes over my mouth. So I go,
all the time, unless I'm out with the girls, and then it's usually one of their hands.
Yes, exactly. So Sam, thank you for saying that, because you joined the Rachel and Kylie club today of non-reverse readings.
I think we've just started a thing.
Yeah, actually, I think it would be good if we did write a book about that, because if Trevor's listening, please, me and Rachel can. But because what I'm saying is, I think it's important. I think intuition is something that is so apparent, and use it well. It's like using your intuition is something like going to the gym. You work out, but I think no, I don't either. I take my dog for a WALK. I can't say that word. But yes, exactly. But I think it's important that we not rely on it all the time, but use it and trust it. I think
so many times in the past I've thought, I've got this hinky feeling, but no, it'll be all right. And my intuition has always been right. And you have to learn to trust it, though. It does take a while, doesn't it? To actually learn to trust those inner feelings. Absolutely.
It does. And I think also as well is, if you don't, it does come, it does bite me on the backside, literally. And I'm thinking, and I do get annoyed quite quickly with myself, but I just think, sort of sit and meditate. I try and meditate every day, and I listen to some music at night, and I would say it knocks me out. I just fall asleep doing the deep breathing. I think I need to practice what I preach. But as you
not so easy.
No, it's not. It's not, because we're human beings. We're spiritual beings in a human body, and we tend to, because of what's going on in the world. I have stopped watching the news. As Wimbledon's on at the moment, that's all it's got on. I get the TV back from the kids, which is brilliant, for 2 weeks of the year. But I think that it's important.
I think whatever you're reading, when I teach witchcraft, I teach spells, magic, intuition and trusting it is something that we push right from the start, whatever
Yeah.
you're doing, whether you're laying out your altar or doing a reading or just life in general. It's the only thing that you can guarantee will be right.
No, and I get that, and I think magic as well, that we're saying about the runes, you can put them onto candles. You know, I think it's important. It's all about intention. If you've got the right intention, and when you're carving that rune symbol into that candle, whether it be gifu or terroirs or algae for protection, it's the intention behind it. And I always say to people, don't do it when you're in a foul mood. You know, because what you put out is what you get back. It does. And my youngest daughter is 9, and we talk about karma quite a bit. And I say to her, you don't have to do anything. She says, why? That's not fair. I said, well, karma will sort it out. And now she's saying it, karma will sort it out. So I think sometimes when you're practicing, you have to practice what you preach in a way. I mean, I'm non-religious. I mean, I do follow a pagan path to the best of my ability. And, you know, I'm human as all of us. But I think sometimes it's almost like giving a power away to that situation. You have to really think and trust. Trust is a massive thing, you know. So
I think as we get older too, perhaps we get a little bit more, you know what, I can't be bothered with all that.
Yeah. No, well, we were talking off air about that kind of thing, you know what I mean? You sort of just keep to your own. And you know, I love going in the supermarket with my bright pink hair, because some people will smile, some people will laugh, and some people will just stare, go hello, good morning, kind of thing, and carry on with my day. But you know, it's just, I've always wanted pink hair, so why not?
Yeah, excellent. So I think with the runes, I've mentioned I do put them on candles and things. I don't read them, but I do work with them in magic. But I'm just working from the basic keyword meanings that I get from a book. But they are so much more than that, aren't they? They really are.
They are. I mean, in Scandinavia, they still can be found. I think also up in the Orkney Islands, they are found on stones, some in churches, some on boats. And then what they used to do, it was a language, it was a secretive language that they used to put on tombstones, and basically naming their equipment. So it could be a comb, it could be a brooch, and I live in Cambridgeshire, and I know there are some runes in Norwich Castle found in this area. So they've sort of travelled very far. I mean, but the story of the runes is about Odin, like hanging upside down, and he wanted insight. So the Norns, so basically the Norns told him he had to sort of sacrifice himself. So he did. He hung up on Yggdrasil, which is the world tree in Norse mythology.
Glad you said that. I can never pronounce that.
It's taken, well, I'm dyslexic, so I get my teeth in a few things. And it's quite funny sometimes. My kids laugh at me, but we also have a joke about it. But going back to the story, when he hung upside down, he sent his ravens out there, Hugin and the other one with
an M, isn't it?
Yeah, Mugen, that's it. Thank you very much. And basically what they would do, they would fly out and whisper him the knowledge of the world. Okay. And he saw the rune symbols, and he cut them into a rock. And then on the last day, he got the last rune. He cut himself down. But it's interesting because that story sort of emanates the Reiki one. Have you done Reiki? When he fasted for 21 days. So there's sort of similarities like that, like sacrificing kind of thing. Yeah. And so the runes were given to mankind. But so you can use them. Now there's the futark that I teach, which is in 3 lots of 8, so 24. There is a blank rune that has been devised, A lot of people call it Odin's rune. A lot of people use it as a spare rune. Personally, I don't teach that. I just teach the 24.
Is that a newer edition? Is that a more modern edition?
Yeah. That was Ralph Blum, I think back in the 1980s, because after World War II, the runes had a bad press because the Nazis used the runes on their lapels. The Swahilo, which is the lightning bolt, was used as on there. So it got a really bad press, and Himmler was interested in looking for the Armenian runes. He set up a cult, as it were, and they looked into basically magic to control the world. There's a lot of articles, if you find online, like Nazis and the runes. I mean,
they were interested in the occult generally.
Yeah, they were. Yeah. I mean, you had they into the occult, and Winston Churchill also was into mediums and clairvoyance, and it has been noted that he did see the sun during the war, and he has also had second sight. And he was in a car, and this voice told him to move. And if he hadn't, this tree fell on his car, it would have killed him. So, you know, but also, I mean, wasn't it Helen Duncan? Is it Helen Duncan, the last person to
be tried as a witch?
Yeah.
Yes. Local, I mean, where I am, she was local.
Wow. Oh, I've gone all cold thinking. Yeah, I've gone like really. It's like, you know, like when that chill that you get when someone walks across.
Yeah.
That's how I really feel. So, but she was the last person to be tried under witchcraft, and she got a lot of stuff in the war. I think she was doing a seance somewhere, and somebody had been their boat had gone down, or a submarine. I can't remember what was what, but they whisked her in and said, "How did you know that?" And she said, "Well, I had the person from the boat or the U-boat to give information," which I thought was quite remarkable. But I'm really glad she got a pardon. But anyway, going back, I'm digressing, which I always do. I do apologise. But the runes are very magical, and I think when you get into using them, I would use them. Well, as I teach it, I've got a group of students at the moment, and I say to them, just take one rune a day from your pouch and see what you get. Meditate with that rune, put it into your left hand, allow the energy of the rune to follow into your body, and put your hand on your heart and say, what does this rune speak to me? And I teach the same way as tarot, one a day. And if you get the same rune on regular basis, it's sort of telling you something a bit like the tarot.
Yeah.
Listen. And listen. Exactly. Well, exactly. I mean, a lot of people don't like the death card, do they, in tarot? I mean, I love it because one of the Scorpio.
I think readers love it.
Yeah.
But if you're on, it's a Hollywood thing as well, isn't it? I think people have got the wrong idea about it.
Yeah, because tarot was in James Bond film, wasn't it? And the death card, and she says, "Oh, James," and falls down. Sorry, that drives me mad. But I mean, the runes were apparent in I'm a definite Marvel girl. I love my Marvel films. And the last Doctor Strange, there was a witch there, and he said there was lots of different runes. And in the cinema, and I can't wait to watch it when I'm at home, just to slow it down, just to see what they were, what kind of runes they were, because it'd be interesting.
Yeah,
and
see if they got the right ones in there.
Exactly, to see if they created some that we no longer know of, because there's some runes that are used and they're inverted. For example, the Extinction Rebellion, the Extinction Rebellion. I always get that in the wrong way because of the teeth in the way. They have the Dagas symbol, which it looks like a butterfly, but they've turned it round to depict an hourglass. It was created in London in 2011, and the hourglass represents as time is running out for many species. But Dagas, actually got my notes quickly. I can remember, is about community in your home. But as it's changed the symbol, it changes the energy.
Right.
So I don't know whether when the person created it, they looked at Dagas. I can't, say that. But, inverting symbols can also direct a different kind of energy. It's a bit like our geese is a protection symbol, but has also used the Greenpeace symbol, and our geese is used for protection and healing, and it's a really good symbol. Like if you're going on a long journey, I always put our geese into my suitcase, so I know I'm going to get my suitcases back. Kind of thing.
Good tip. Yeah. That's a very good tip.
Thank you. And also Gifu is the cross. It's spelled in different ways, but it means karmic balance. But our ancestors used Gifu when they couldn't spell. They signed documents with the cross.
Oh, with the cross. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've not made the connection there that is a rune. Yeah.
Yeah, and also it means like a kiss. So we're always giving like kisses. So we're using Gifu, and it's also an exchange. I mean, the Norse people would give gifts to the gods, exchange for a good harvest and not a harsh winter. And Gifu can be found. I mean, I've traced my mum, if she's watching, has traced the family tree back to the 1500s, and most of our ancestors were farmers, and they were illiterate, and they signed their birth certificates, marriage and death certificates with a cross. So yeah, Tewaz is the arrow, and we all seen that in signs, with the highway code. It's in there. But the most famous bind rune, as we were talking about earlier, is the Bluetooth one, and that's after King Harold Bluetooth. He was a king in Denmark in the 10th century, and there are a couple of stories why he was called Bluetooth. One, because he loved eating blueberries that gave him blue teeth. I've tried it; that doesn't work here.
You'd have to eat quite a lot, I think.
Exactly. But also he had a blue tooth because his teeth were rotten. And they are two. They also, it takes up his initials, HB, which is Hagel, which is basically the H. I call it a rugby pitch, but just
rugby. Say that. That's how I remember it, because it looks like the rugby post, doesn't it?
The rugby post, but the post is coming down. And also Bacana, which is the bee, which is Hagel is connected to Hela, the goddess of hell. And it is a good rune. I have to read this. Basically, it's God, I can tell my glasses are getting old. Basically, it's the symbol is about accepting what is going on at that moment in time. I mean, it connects to traditions of the harvest for our ancestors, but how geese is about living in the present moment. That's for me. Somebody might else say completely different. A Bacana is about motherhood. I mean, the bee on its represents Mother Earth's breasts.
I'm going to say, let's be honest, on its side it looks like boobies.
Yes, it does. It does. That's what my 9-year-old said about that. And it's about fertility. So, but not a fertility about conception or conception, about getting pregnant. It's about fertility of ideas. So, drawing that on a card, either in red or gold. Red was quite a popular colour with Vikings because it indicates the blood life force. Yeah. And gold is a higher frequency. And it brings fruition of our ideas, the fertility of our ideas. Because I don't know about you, I get quite a lot in dream state where
my mind never switches off.
Bless you.
I have 27 tabs open 24/7.
Wow. But I think I'm a bit like that as well. But I think that, like, if people are listening today and they want like abundance to come into them, the first symbol, Fehu, is to draw that on a candle and allow it to burn green or gold for prosperity, and put it into the window and just allow it to burn on its own. Abundance does come, but also practicing gratitude.
We're not so good at that, are we? We're very good at asking.
Yeah.
And I want this, bring this my way. I've talked about this recently. Manifesting, bring it to me. This is what I want. We're very bad at doing the thank you for what you've provided for me thing.
Definitely. Because then what you could do is also, if you have Fehu, which is the F on the side, and Gifu, which is a cross, you can combine them two together as a bind rune to bring prosperity. But also, like, I always say thanks to the gods, especially Odin. I have worked with Freya, and she's quite powerful, quite very beautiful, but quite profound,
right?
With her beauty. But also, when I say fierce, not in an angry way, but like, what you doing? You've called upon me. And I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm busy. Come on.
Yes, exactly. What do you want? I said, well, I want to work with this rune. And she's matter of fact,
right?
Which was like quite not shocked, but I was like, oh, okay, kind of thing.
No messing about.
Exactly. She's straight to the point.
You mentioned Hel there and the goddess of the underworld. I think we had a talk earlier from Francis about the dark goddess. I think people are sometimes quite put off or scared about the idea that it's the underworld, or even her name Hel. It's only one L, isn't it? It's H-E-L.
Yeah.
Even that whole, because it ties in with the idea of
death and like the tarot card as well.
Going to the bad place.
Yeah. Well, I remember I did Karuna Reiki, and I met this amazing guy called Roberto, and he was Italian, and he grew up being told that if he was a bad boy, he'd go down there. And they were pretty I've got a friend who's Italian, and she said, yeah, they had that drummed into them as children, that, you know, if they did really bad things, the devil would come in, or Diablo would come and get them. But Hela, as some people call her face might be quite profound ugliness, and I'm going to put that in really. Yeah, she's
got a bit of half skull job going.
A bit like Skeletor from showing my age now. Yeah, He-Man kind of thing, and She-Ra kind of thing. God, I'm showing my 1970s kind of thing. But he does look like Skeletor, and actually the Morgan Greer tarot, the death card, does look like Skeletor. And I love the Morgan Greer, and I love Hela because it's about transformation. And I work, because my ancestors are from Ireland. I've heard the the wailing banshee,
right?
But she comes to me with black and white hair, and not to basically, when you hear her cry, she, you know, a lot of my ancestors would think, oh my God, someone's going to actually go. But actually it could be the death of something. It could be the death of idea, or a death of a relationship, or a friendship, or because some people say to me, just let go. And I'm like, right, okay, I'll let go. But that means to me letting go of the handlebars, and I'll probably land up in a ditch, which I've done no end of times. But surrendering is on my wavelength, is that word. And also words that are important when you do runes, spells, magic. And I'm writing that.
Words have power, don't they? Words
they do. They, you know, if you look at the Kennedy family, for example, I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but the Kennedys had a lot. The Kennedy family were like the royal family of America. They had a lot of bad luck when people used to pass away in their family. But a lot of people said that they were cursed. you know, I don't believe in hexes. I don't believe in curses. I think we can curse ourselves, you know, running over our foot with a shopping trolley. I always do it all the time. You know, I always just say to my, learn a driver when my daughter's pushing it, and people sort of like kind of say it. So, but yeah, I mean, Hella, she's a good person to work with. I mean, if she comes to you, she's come to you for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, she's the opposite of Freya, where Freya is blonde-haired, blue-eyed, gorgeous looking, whereas Hella
Isn't.
a disfigured face.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes it's like when you're training to be, say, a psychotherapist or a healer, you do have a lot of dark night of the souls experiences. And I think sometimes people don't understand what that means. But in order to get from one position to another, I think sometimes you go for it through spiritual growth, because we forget that we've already agreed to this. And like I said to some of my students, as when it's my turn to go up there, I want my contract. I want to read the small print, because I
on your soul contract.
Exactly, because I did not
small print.
Exactly. I didn't agree to this. But some, like in meditation, I get, well, you did. No, I didn't. Why would I agree to that? But I understand that now. But when you're going through it and Hella appears, you think, oh, you know, what am I doing?
But I think you have to have, like we say, we're both quite happy with the death card, because for me it means the end of something. But if something new comes to take its place, you have to have that death to have the rebirth. You have to have that destruction, that clearing out before something fabulous comes along, because you can't have it all.
No,
you really cannot have it all.
No,
no matter how many manifestings you do on the full moon, you can't have it all.
I mean, I've known to have like on a full moon, I have a full moon ritual, and my 9-year-old says, like, can we do that, Mum? She's very, magic seems normal naturally to her. And sometimes when the wind has gone to the fence, I'm like this, thinking, oh my God, I have to run. But I have to laugh about it. Like new moon wishes, we get the bay leaves out. We have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah.
You know,
the gods have a sense of humour. They must have a sense of humour to deal with us lot. So, yeah.
No. Yeah. I know. I would agree. I would agree with that, because it can't be all doom and gloom. It all can't be all butterflies and bunny tails and, you know, and lollipops. I think it has to be in the middle. It's like Kenas is the arrows. It's the V sign, like the V sign, like this on the and that is about lighting our way. And we're in a year 6, and Kenas is the 6th rune, so it's lighting our way to move forward. Someone told me the other day it's a 6th year, so the 6th card is a lover's card, isn't it, in tarot?
Yeah.
So
I never look at the numbers.
No, but there's something that I look at. Numerology is them upstairs, as I call them, are pushing me to look at numbers. So I know some people have got a birth number 6. They're going through quite a bit, but Kenas is there to light the way. Like Kenas, a lot of the Norse ancestors had, you know, they lived by candlelight, and you know, in summer, I've got a friend who's Icelandic. She said it's very, very light. Like on Midsummer's Day, it's like all like literally till midnight. But the winter is very, very dark.
Yeah.
And then that's when Hella comes. And you know, I love walking in the dark, even being taxi service to my children. Not complaining, I'd like to add. Sometimes talking in the dark and just saying, you know, and having a conversation. You might think that yourself, but you're not actually. You're having that conversation with your guides, your ancestors. You know, I'm a great believer, but I keep it real by going to watch football, tennis, that kind of thing, sort of balance both worlds.
You've got to do the, for want of a better word, mundane, although I don't like that word. You have to do the mundane stuff, but you can work a bit of magic into your daily life as well, can't you? I don't, right, that's a witch, and I do witch stuff at that time. I'm a mother at that time, I'm a wife at that time. It all merges in together.
And I think when it encompasses it all, I think it's about balance, because all I've been doing this spiritual path for the last 30 years, and it's part of me, and it I understand now. I'm born on Halloween. My kids call me a proper witch, especially when I say, clean your room.
That's my birthday too.
Oh, good. Birthday twins. We got to write that.
Club. We definitely got to start a club now.
Yeah, and also write a book together as well. Two witches. My son will probably, oh my God, kind of thing. You found your own kin. But, it's like, I think you have to find a balance,
It's light and dark, isn't it? For me, there's not white magic, dark magic, white magic, black magic. It's just, you've got to walk that kind of grey line in between. You have to have an understanding of both sides. You can't have one without the other. It doesn't work.
No, I agree, because Hollywood has got a lot to answer for that. And I've seen a new clip of the new film, the witch one.
Hocus Pocus?
Yeah, Hocus Pocus 2.
I've not seen it yet.
I recommend everybody to listen to it, because they're selling that. I'm not going to give a spoiler. Actually, I might. Actually, they're saying a spell that they say a witch gets her powers on her 16th birthday, and they're saying that they're chanting the spell. And whoever's written the words has done their research properly, because I said that to one of the mums at school. I said, that's a proper spell. She said, what do you mean? I just know it's a proper spell. And with the Hollywood theatrical with it as well, it's quite magical. And then Bette Midler and the other two, who I can't remember the names. One's from Sex in the City, and the other one I can't remember. And then they appear, and it looks really, really good. Yeah. So quite looking forward to that. Comes out September the 30th.
Yeah. It's nice to know that they've actually done some proper research by the sound. Yeah. Rather than put us all in a bad light.
Exactly, and I think that's what happened to the runes when the Nazi party got hold of the runes, because Himmler was obsessed of ruling the world, and there have been reports that he was more insane than Hitler was. Whether that's true, I don't know.
Going some, but yeah.
And they had a little group. I mean, that's like the swastika. They used it to gain power, and it is a sacred symbol, but used in the wrong way. So like when I teach runes, and I do a workshop on how to make your own rune set, and I usually do it on the new moon rather than the full moon,
right?
In between, so that it's sacred to them. And also making the pouch bag where they keep their runes is important to them as well. I mean, I do, when I go out in nature and I take the wood, I always ask the tree, I ask the beach, can I take these stones away from me? I ask permission from the land, and if it says no, it stays there, because it's not meant to be for me. It's meant to stay on the land or for somebody else. But yeah, I always ask permission, because...
Do you think it is a better set of runes if you make them yourself?
Sometimes I do, because like in the beginning, if you buy some from the internet or a shop, it's great. But I think also as well, as you work with the runes on a daily basis and you start to make your own, you put your own energy into it. So in the summer holidays, which is only 3 weeks away, like you said earlier on, this year's going flying by.
Blinking, this year's gone.
I'm going to be making some with my daughter, but we're going to make them out of wood. And I'm quite looking forward to that, because I've got some wood tools to burn them on the woods to see what happens.
That's the word, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got
the type of wood matters as well. Does it matter what tree it comes from? Does that lend a different energy to it?
Yes, it does. I mean, like I've got ash, but that's the Yggdrasil, the world tree.
Yep.
World tree is an ash tree, so I've used. I want to make my own in ash.
Yeah.
What's the magic one tree? The Harry Potter and wands. I can't think what it's called.
There's lots of fairy ones, isn't there? There's oak and hawthorn and what else? We've got willow. They've all got their own magical properties, haven't they?
Yeah,
reasons.
They would be good. In Celtic mythology, there are trees associated to your birthday, and I can't think of, they've gone out of my mind at the moment, but I would say if you want that tree like hawthorn, I have a friend, her name was Nina Hawthorne, so I would probably make her, she's probably trying to come through, that's why we had crackly internet a few minutes ago, but I would make her a set for her, even though she's passed, because hawthorn was,
there's a connection.
Yeah, definitely is a connection. I think what you're connected to, again, it goes down to intuition, about, if you trust your intuition. So I'm using ash, even going to your local garden centre and getting some pebbles and some red paint from your local art shop, red or gold, and just even drawing them. You can draw them in the air to really feel them, feel the energy of them, because drawing them in the air, to draw them on a piece of paper, for example, Justin won't mind me saying this, my lovely Irish friend, who he's also a witch, he's doing studying, that's how I met him, and he was stuck. So I sat in meditation and 2 runes came to me, which was Tewaz and Gifu, and I made him a bind rune and I sent it to him to help him with his studies, and it shifted whatever he needed to do to finish that part of studies. So yeah, but that's what I love about the runes, because once you connect with them magically, they can work in mysterious magical ways.
We've got Val then is saying here, I made my runes myself and they work with me. There is that, it makes that personal connection, doesn't it?
Thank you.
We got a few minutes left, and we have an interesting question here, which I asked off screen. Which I'm going to throw at you now.
Okay.
What's your opinion about binding runes?
I'd like to know, Valvin, what you made your runes with, because I think binding runes are magical. I think intuitively, I think you should go and do them. I think that because if you're a beginner, then I would say a no. But Rachel, if you did it, I think it would work for you. I've actually got a set, not because I don't show them, a set that have got bind runes that I use for other people. So someone, if I was read for Valvin or for you, I would use them for you. But it gives it a different meaning. I think they're amazing. I think you need to learn the runes for a couple of years before you start using bind runes, because if you're not grounded, and that's another thing that's important, to use runes when you're grounded, a bit like tarot, it's the intention and your intuition. I think it's important that you should, but you've got to get a ground knowledge. Please buy my book. I know it sounds silly saying that, but
no, absolutely.
to give you some knowledge, because it's almost like trying to ride a magic carpet without the instructions, or in my case, trying to use a washing machine without instructions. I'm useless. Plus I'm dyslexic, so I think you have to do it slowly. You have to do it when you're ready, and intuitively you'll know that you're ready. And I hope that answers the question.
Do you want to just explain what a bind rune is?
Okay.
Funnily enough, I've got one. I have one.
Oh yes, please. Thank you.
I made it. There we are.
Oh wow, that's beautiful. And it's in red.
Yeah, red pen on natural quartz stone. I went to a workshop last weekend. I didn't just pull this out of my own head. We went to a workshor, which was fascinating. Do you want to explain how you do
this? That's fine. A bind rune is two or three runes put together to make their own rune. Great. But that one, oh my god, the power that I get off from that is incredible. because it has its own, it takes its own meaning itself.
What I actually found was I did 3 runes,
Yeah.
but when you draw them together and you sit there and look at it, that about 5 more jumped out at me that I hadn't intentionally put in there.
Yeah.
But it is about basically binding together different runes, isn't it? To make a to me it looks like a sigil from a magical point of view.
They do become sigils, which is also a different talk for a different day.
Oh yeah.
And Valven, I hope I've said your name right. You could call them Valven runes, and they would be your own magical runes for you to use on your readings and for other people as well. I'm all for bind runes. I'm all for making your own set, but in use the intention for a positive experience. And I think this is just the beginning of bind runes. Maybe I need to write a book about that as well, but
I think you should. I think it was fascinating. I had so many light bulb moments about them. Yeah.
And also you could use that bind rune just to shift things, in your own life. Because I'm a great believer of free will. We all have free will. If you're meant to be with somebody and it's not the right time, it's not going to happen. And a lot of people, as we talked about off air, want a quick fix. You can get your quick fix, but the universe will, I believe, make you wait even longer.
Yeah.
And that is
best.
So definitely that can be so frustrating sometimes, where you want something so much, like that job, to be with that person, to move house, I don't know, to win the lottery. The amount of people that ask me for the lottery, I would say is look at Fehu and see how. What does money mean to you? What does monetary mean to you? If it's what lessons have you learned in this lifetime? And that's how I get them to learn the runes. Like radio is about the R symbol. It's about travel, about movement. But your life might be standing still at the moment. Why are you standing still? Is it external forces or is it your own thinking? And we can be our own worst enemy. At times, but it's as I say to my children, respond, not react, which frustrates them a lot. But I say, if you respond in kindness and someone reacts to you in anger, doesn't mean you say you like that, you throw that back to them. You just stay in your power. And runes to me are all about power. Bind runes are all about power. But I would say get a ground knowledge of runes first before you start playing around with them.
So we could probably talk for hours, but we have come to the end.
Thank you.
Do you want to just a very, very quick question? Very quick question. Is there a right or wrong way to draw the runes?
No, there's not. Trust your intuition, my lovely. That's all I would say. And I get intuitively that your runes. People say from the bottom upwards. I've just done radio. I would say use your intuition. I've always been told there's no right or wrong way. So yeah.
Go with it. The runes, your book with Moon Books is called?
It's Runes Made Easy.
Runes Made Easy. That's available now, isn't it? You're writing a new book for Moon Books?
Yes, I am. Tea leaf, tasseography is coffee and tea leaf reading. But I think I've birthed a new idea today about bind runes.
Absolutely. I'd buy that one.
Thank you, Rachel. I love talking to you. Like we said, we could talk until the cows come home, and it's.
We got other people coming up, so we ought to let them have a chance.
Thank you for holding the space today, and thank you. You're amazing, and I just love being in your time and space.
It's great fun. And thank you to everyone for joining us. Stay with us. We have one I'm looking forward to, Magic of Cats, after this one with the fabulous Andrew Anderson. So stay with us. We got more for you today. Replays and recordings are up from all of yesterday's talks and all of this morning's talks as well. So thank you, everyone, and take care.
Thank you. Bye.